Today, we are cracking open one of the most scandalous, most explosive documents ever to survive from the ancient world. Seriously, this is a text so dangerous its author had to keep it a secret, probably for fear of their own life.
So, let me ask you something. What if everything you learned about a nation's most celebrated rulers was a lie? What if behind that shiny public facade of greatness, the real story was something much, much darker? Well, way back in the 6th century Byzantine Empire, someone, and we're still not totally sure who, did just that. They wrote a secret history, a furious takedown of the Emperor Justinian and his wife, Empress Theodora. Now, these are rulers usually famous for their amazing laws and architecture, but this secret book, it claims their public virtues were just a mask for some truly shocking private vices. And the author doesn't pull any punches. They start their case with the Empress Theodora. And the attack is absolutely relentless, starting long before she ever even dreamed of sitting on a throne.
The portrait he paints, well, it's not flattering, to say the least. He describes Theodora as an abandoned creature, a woman from the absolute bottom of society, whose early life was supposedly defined by just one thing: an insatiable, completely unquenchable lust. And just listen to how extreme this gets. The author doesn't just suggest she was immoral. No, they paint this picture of almost supernatural depravity. A quote like this was designed to completely shock the reader and establish Theodora as a figure of pure corruption, right from the very beginning. The attacks on her character just keep coming, detailing her alleged career as a performer. And this one is famous. The author describes her signature act, where she would lie naked on stage while geese pecked barley grains off her body. It was presented as something so shameless that she became this notorious figure, someone that respectable people would literally cross the street to avoid. According to the story, after a big falling out with a powerful governor, Theodora was thrown out on the street with nothing. To survive, she supposedly wandered across the east, working as a prostitute from Alexandria all the way back home to Byzantium. This journey is framed as her hitting rock bottom right before her unbelievable rise to power. And you see, this isn't just the author making a moral judgment. They're taking it to a whole other level. They're basically arguing that her wickedness was so epic, it had to be the work of actual evil forces, spreading corruption all over the known world. Which, of course, raises a huge question, right? If even a tiny fraction of this stuff was true, what kind of man would not only fall for this woman, but literally change the laws of the empire just to make her his empress? And that brings us to part 2 of this secret takedown, the case against the Emperor Justinian himself. The author argues that far from being a great ruler, he was a monster who systematically plundered the empire for his own gain. The text lays out what you could call Justinian's playbook for ruin. First, he allegedly set up monopolies on essential goods, so you had to buy from him at crazy prices. Then he sold off important government jobs to the highest bidder, invented all sorts of new, crushing taxes, and used basically any excuse he could find to steal the fortunes of private citizens. One of the sneakiest tricks was messing with the money itself. For example, the author claims that when people would bring in a gold coin, the treasury would shortchange them, keeping about 1/6 of its value. That missing slice? Yeah, that went straight into the emperor's pockets. This alleged corruption went right to the heart of the government. Take the office of quaestor. That's kind of like the empire's top lawyer. It used to be a job for the wisest, most honorable people. But under Justinian, the book claims, it was sold off to ignorant crooks, turning justice into something you could just buy. And how did he get away with seizing all this wealth? Well, according to the author, he had a whole menu of justifications. You could be accused of heresy, sedition, even superstition, and boom, the state could confiscate everything you owned. The document even claims he had experts who would forge wills to make the emperor the heir to your fortune. But as the book goes on, you start to realize the author thinks this goes way beyond simple human greed. The sheer scale of the destruction, the depths of the depravity, it suggested to him that something else was going on, something far more sinister. So after all these pages of scandal, corruption, and ruin, the author makes his final, unbelievable claim. What did he really believe Justinian and Theodora were? And here it is, the climax of the entire text.
The author concludes that Justinian and Theodora were not human at all. He says they were, and I quote, evil demons who had assumed human forms to destroy mankind. I mean, that is the ultimate character assassination, to literally deny their humanity.
So, wow, what are we supposed to make of this incredible document? Is this real history? Is it just fiction? Well, the answer really lies in understanding what kind of writing this actually is.
Modern historians don't really classify the secret history as a factual account. They call it a polemic. Now, a polemic isn't meant to be balanced or fair. Its only purpose is to attack. And let me tell you, this book is one of the most masterful and vicious polemics ever written.
You can almost see the author's toolkit here. They use wild exaggeration or hyperbole. They show their bias on every single page. They write with this tone of pure moral outrage. They use shocking, totally unverifiable stories, and they cap it all off with the ultimate slander. The rulers are actual demons. This isn't history, it's pure, powerful propaganda.
So in the end, the secret history might not tell us the objective truth about Justinian and Theodora, but it reveals something absolutely crucial about the power of a good story to shape a legacy. And it leaves us with one heck of a question. How much of what we call history is shaped not by what actually happened, but by who gets to tell the story?